Greetings and welcome to a new video about power factor correction. We will discuss a three-phase circuit having an inductive load, and we will discuss how we can improve the power factor using a capacitive element in our circuit. We will of course calculate everything step by step and verify this in MATLAB Simulink simulations and also in TINA-TI SPICE. Alright, so we have the following objective. We'd like to correct our power factor to unity. And the circuit is shown here. We have here three sources, VA, VB, and VC. The values are shown here, so 100 volts peak. The frequency is 60 Hertz, and we also see that we have here 120 degrees out of phase for each sources. The load is balanced. In this case, it is also in delta configuration, and we have a series RL load, and we have the values as 20 ohms and 50 millihenries. The frequency is given as set 60 Hertz, and it can be calculated using a 2 pi times 60, which is then in radians is approximately 377 radians per second. Now, how do we work it out to get this power factor unity or power factor equal to 1? So let's see that in our calculations. First, we start with the impedance, load impedance, that's given by this expression, which is the reactance of the inductor and also the resistance we have here. And the reactance of the inductor is omega L, so we can then work it out by using the omega we have here, which is 377, or the more exact 120 pi, and then you get here 20 plus J 18.85 ohms. Now with the line-to-line voltage, which is the voltage between the nodes A and B, or nodes B and C, or nodes A and C, those are the line-to-line voltage we can calculate. The phase voltages are VA, VB, and VC. So the line-to-line voltage, in this case from A to B, that's given by the voltage at node A minus the voltage at node B. It is in phasor form in the frequency domain. So the VA is given by this expression, since the amplitude is 100. And the phase is 0 here, and we have cosine form, we can put it in this format. Similarly for VB, but in this case we have here minus 120 degrees, that's why we have it here. When you substitute in here and also work it out to get the rectangular forms, because we have to make here the subtraction, so we get here 100 times and then the cosine of this angle plus the J sine of the same angle. Similarly, we do here minus 100 and the cosine of this angle plus J sine of that angle. Now if you put it in your calculator, you get actually for this one 1, for this one 0, for this cosine of minus 120 degrees you get here minus a half, and for the sine you get here minus square root of 3 over 2. Now if you combine now the terms, which are the real and the imaginary parts, we have here 100 times 1, and we have here minus 100 times minus a half, so you get actually here 1.5 or 3 over 2 times 100, so I will keep the 100 outside the parentheses. I don't have here the imaginary part, but I have here minus j, so I get the plus j, and the square root of 3 over 2, that's shown here. If I now convert this into the phasor form, so again the amplitude and the phase, so you get the square of this real one, square of the imaginary one, and you add them up and then take the square root, that's this, and the arctangent of the imaginary part divided by the real part will give you the phase. And it will end up here exactly square root of 3, and the phase is exactly 30 degrees. So our conclusion is the following, that the VAB is 100 times the square root of 3 and a phase of 30 degrees. So the following conclusion is then given. Line-to-line voltage is then square root of 3 times larger than amplitude than the phase voltage. So that means this 100 must be then multiplied by square root of 3. And the line-to-line voltage is leading the phase voltage by 30 degrees. That is also given here in short, like so. An argument meaning here the phase of that voltage. We can now convert this three-phase circuit to a more convenient circuit, what we call the per-phase circuit. And now you see here again one of the loads, which is the R and the L in series again, and here we see our line-to-line voltage VAB, and again our amplitude and our phase. And we can now add the capacitor, which is our correction capacitor, to get our power factor to unity, because we already know the power factor of this circuit will be not 1. So we have to make that by using a capacitor. Why capacitor? Why not an inductor, or why not another element? Because the load is already inductive, so you have to compensate that by a reverse action, which is then made by the capacitor. So if you put here an inductor, for example, you will actually make it reverse That's the reason for having the capacitor as the correction element. Okay, so we collect our load impedance and our line-to-line voltage here. So we continue. Now for our power factor correction, we have the following formula that can be then used to calculate the required impedance or reactance of this element. Now we call this here x1. That is needed to correct the power factor to a specific value. In this case, we need a power factor of 1. So that is the following expression. So x1, which is the reactance we need to have, is then equal to this expression. In here, the R and the X are the real and imaginary parts of our load impedance. Now we have calculated that as the 20 and the 18.85. Before the power factor is corrected. And then we have here the PFC, which is the required power factor corrected. So the corrected power factor, in this case it is 1. And we just add up here and substitute values. And you need your x1. And that is then shown here. So we have now this x1, we calculate that, and from there we can calculate then the required capacitor using the formula we know from the capacitor reactance. And then the circuit will be like so. You see here now again the 3 loads in the delta configuration, and now you see the capacitors parallel at each load actually. So the capacitor here is parallel to this, capacitor here and capacitor there. The rest is the exact same as before. Okay, now let's calculate that capacitor then for this case. So for a power factor of 1 with the reactance x1 needed to correct the power factor must be then just substitute the values. And you get here minus 40.07 ohms. Now this minus sign is already indicated that we need a capacitive element. If this was a plus, for example, then you need an inductive element. It can be, for example, that you have here an RC load, which is then already a leading element. Then you need here an inductive element to make the power factor better. So the x1 is a reactance of a delta connected equivalent circuit. Why? Because we have already a delta connected load, and also the capacitor are also in the delta configuration. So then we can say the following: the xc, that's the capacitor reactance, will be the absolute value of this x1, which is just absolute value of that one. Then you get here this, and the capacitor reactance is given by 1 over the omega c. So the c is then equal to 1 over omega x of c. Now you know the values here. You also know the omega from our source, and that will give you 66 point almost 2, so 66.2 microfarads. That's for this configuration. So for the delta connected capacitors, each capacitor here must be then, as said before, 66.2 approximately microfarads. But there's also another configuration. So the x1 we have calculated is actually the reactance of the delta connected capacitors. So if you want, that is a possibility that you have a star connected capacitors. So what will be then the situation for this situation? It's also called the Y connected. Well, for this case we have to make the conversion from the delta to the Y connected or to star connected equivalent capacitors. So we need to make that conversion. Now we know if there are balanced loads, we can say delta impedance, so the impedance in the delta configuration is equal to 3 times the impedance in the star or the Y connection. But we need to of course know the impedance in the star connection. That is equal to the delta divided by 3. And we know this is for the delta connected value, so 40.07. And you divide it by 3, you get here 13.36. So you 3 times smaller impedance actually. And then we can write again that we have a new capacitor reactance x of c, which is then the value here, 13.36 ohms. And similarly as we have done it for this case, we use the formula for the reactance of the capacitor and then calculate the capacitor value, new capacitor value, using the new value of the impedance here, and that will result in 198.6 microfarad approximately. So you have actually increased, in this case exactly 3 times your capacitor value if you put it in this configuration. So our power factor is still 1, but now you have increased your capacitor, as said, by 3 times. So the Y-connected correction requires 3 times larger capacitors. Okay, this is now the summary. So next to each other, you see here again the values and also the configuration. Let's now verify this in the simulations. Start first with the TINA-TI SPICE simulation results. This is the original circuit. You see here the circuit drawn. You see the VA, VB, and VC. These are the power meters what we see here are the real powers. So the apparent power and the reactive power and etc. All the elements are shown here. You see also here the loads. What you also see in addition is that there's a current of 10.9 amps is flowing here, and also the phases here shown here. That is also negative, so that means your load is lagging, or an inductive load. So as said before here, the effective power or the real power also shown here. The reactive power is shown here, so it is not zero, actually quite large. And also the apparent power is then the vectorial sum of these two. And we have the phase here, and the power factor here is in this case 728 milli, or 0.728. This is of course not 1, so we have to make it better. That's also the objective of this example. First one was the delta connected capacitors. We see here the capacitor, another capacitor here. So these are the 66.2 microfarads approximately, and you have also here the results. You see the effective power is exact same. The reactive power is very close to zero, so this microvolt amp is reactive, so we can just ignore this. You see also the apparent power and the effective power, or the real power, are equal to each other. The phase is 0, and also the power factor is 1. What you also see in addition is this: the phase currents, or the IA here, IB and IC, are in this case 7.9 amps approximately. This is much smaller than the 10.9 here, which is then a reduction of 3 amps approximately here. And also the phase is here 0 degrees, here minus 120 degrees, and here 120 degrees. So you see actually the phase current and the phase voltage are in phase, and here they are not in phase. In addition, you also see for this case that the line-to-line voltage, VAB, also for this case, you see that actually this 173 approximately volts, this is the square root of 3 times this 100. And it is also the phase here of 30 degrees. Now, this is for the delta connected capacitors. We go now to the star or the Y connected capacitor. You see here the capacitor C, C, another C, but now 3 times larger. But the conclusion is exact same. So we have again a phase of 0 degrees and a power factor of 1. And we also see that the phase currents are also much smaller than the original situation without the correction, but same as the delta connected capacitor corrections. So we see indeed that we have achieved our goal and also verified this in TINA-TI SPICE. Okay, let's now go to the MATLAB Simulink circuit simulation. So we have here the original circuit without the correction. You see here the 3 sources again, and our 3 balanced loads, the resistors and the inductors, all shown here. We measure the current, we measure the voltage across one of the sources, and also the current through one of the sources. That will be applied to this power meter, which will then get this V and I, and will then also produce the P, which is our effective power or the active power, and here Q, which is then the reactive power. You see they are not equal to each other. I mean, this is not 0, so it is also what we have seen in the TINA-TI SPICE simulations. The apparent power is then the vectorial sum of this P and the Q. And what you see is the arctangent will then make from this and that. So you multiply this and you divide by the real part, you get the arctangent of that, will produce here the phase. This phase will be then taken as the cosine. It will produce here the power factor, as we also have seen in our TINA-TI SPICE simulations. And the phase can be then converted from the radians to degrees by doing times 180 degrees over pi. So this is then the 43.3 degrees. This is as we have seen also in the TINA-TI SPICE simulations. One important note about the apparent power calculations, or apparent power in the Simulink, how to determine that is using an RMS block here and then multiply that. So if you multiply the amplitudes, you don't get the correct result. Okay, let's now go to the situation for the delta connected power factor correction. So we have now the power factor correction with the delta connected capacitors. These are shown here, 3 capacitors, C1, C2, C3. And one important note here for simulations in Simulink. Simulink doesn't allow us to put here a capacitor in parallel for the sources, so we have to put here a very small resistance here. So I put here in the Simulink 1 micro ohms. If you put too small, the simulation might take too much time. If you take it too large, maybe 1 ohm or 1 milli ohm, you might get a bit more inaccuracy. So I have here 1 micro, so close to 0. And if you do that, and again the same circuit as shown here, then you get here power factor of 1x as we wanted. And so you see also the phases almost 0. You also see the reactive power is close to 0, so just a small rounding off errors also because of this resistor. So the active power and the apparent power here are exactly same. Okay, now the next one is about the power factor correction with the star connected capacitors. See here the capacitors again a similar problem. So we have again put here a small resistor just to make the Simulink simulations happy, and then we can continue and then also measure here the volts and the currents, and then to get the active and reactive power, etc. You see the power factor is again 1 and the phase is very close to 0, in this case a small negative value. Again, this is dependent on how it's calculated. You see also the active power is close to the apparent power, just a small error because of this small addition we have to make. Finally, let's also look at the plots. So in the scope of the Simulink, you can create the plots for the volt and the current, so voltage and the current. This is without the correction. What you see is the source voltage is 100 volt peak, but the source current, the phase current, is actually lagging. So they see the amplitude of the phase current is coming later than the amplitude of the source voltage. Now for the situation with correction for the capacitors, actually, where you add the capacitors, in both cases actually, also for the star and the delta connected configuration, the phase voltage or the source voltage peak and the peak for the current are happening at the same moment. So you don't have any lagging here. So this is also the consequence of the power factor of 1. In addition, you see that the current here, in this case, without the correction, was approximately 10.9 was 11 in our simulation results. And you see here it's almost 8 or 7.9 as we have seen in our simulations in TINA-TI SPICE. So we see indeed that the current has decreased a lot from 11 amps approximately to 8 amps. This is the consequence of the power factor correction. Alright, it was our example considering the 3-phase circuit having a delta connected balance load. We have looked at how we can improve the power factor, in this case exactly the unity, and we have looked at 2 configurations of the capacitors to make the power factor 1, and also verified that in the SPICE simulations and in the MATLAB Simulink simulations. If you have any questions about those examples, please let me know and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Don't forget to like and share these videos so that we can reach more people for these interesting topics. Thanks for your cooperation and see you next time in another video.